Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Woo! I gotta run. Let's do it. Nothing like some fresh air, a few good friends, and sports.
On the road again.
Yeah, so grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin. We'll be there, where and when. We're on the road again.
Well, Jay, it's good to have you back, man. How you been?
I'm great because we just passed a sign that said Scotchtown.
Well, look, man, today's game between Washington and Green Bay, very interesting matchup for two reasons, in my opinion. One, you don't know what type of Aaron Rodgers you're going to get, especially in this weather. Cold weather tends to tighten up the joints, so that makes me a little bit worried. I'm just saying. Then, the Redskins tend to play teams on their level. And so, I don't know which teams we're going to get today.
I agree to a certain point on that. They tend to play to the level because I'm sorry, besides, not understanding the defense that was coming at them last week, offensively, the Redskins should have dominated. And for the way, Gruden came out and said, I didn't know what to call.
How do you not know what to call? And I'll be honest with you. At first I thought it was kind of a joke. I was like, maybe he's just said, but he legitimately looked like he had no clue what to do against that Colts defense last week. Darius Leonard was fantastic. He was out there. He had like 18 tackles, like a sack, and their receivers couldn't get open. They just couldn't get open.
Well, and they brought in, beginning of the week, signed 2 wide receivers. They've already cut one. The other one's their 5th string. So, what improvement did they make?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how much improvement they really make. The biggest improvement if they can get Maurice Harris back. He's been out on concussion protocol for like the last, the first 2 weeks of the season and a little bit going into the preseason. So having him back will be critical. He's a very vital piece to that team. I think he's going to make, big moves. He practiced all this week, so we might get to see him, but they're going to need something.
But my concern, I love Alex Smith. I think bringing him in was the right choice. They brought in Paul Richardson. But right now, your most consistent and available target is Jordan Reed. And it's,
what?
How long is Jordan Reed going to be on the field? That's the question of the year. Because the person I compared him to, Cameron Jordan, is already retired because he couldn't stay healthy.
Isn't that crazy?
And they both have the same skill level, in my eyes anyways. So, and then you look at the Packers coming in, that young secondary really kept them in that game last week. So,
Josh Jackson gets the after the block, he gets the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Jair Alexander gets an interception. Those young guys look like they're ready to play. I like what Mike Pettin has done with that defense. Even though it may not look like it on some other fronts, they're still working on some things and trying to get better. But I like what he's done so far. There's definitely a different energy on the Green Bay defense.
In the secondary. But my concern is you got, $50 million in linebackers that can't sack the quarterback?
Let me tell you something right now. If Clay Matthews doesn't learn how to tackle people and stop being so angry, I think that might be the one issue that we have. 2 back-to-back weeks, 2 penalties that could have cost the team big time. Now, to be honest with you, I think the second one, even though he probably shouldn't have got it, cost him more than the first one.
Because that cost the game. That's the game.
It cost the game because they would have won that game, and it wouldn't have been a tie. We'd be talking 2-0 Packers right now, and not the 1-0-1 Packers. And in Minnesota, if anything, was just probably happy they got the tie in the first place. Now they had 2 opportunities to win that game too. So kickers have just had a really bad week last week.
But they rectified that. They brought in Dan Bailey.
Man, Dan Bailey.
My question is, how the hell is Dan Bailey, a free agent? Last week, 19 missed field goals and or extra points. They've shied away from special teams, and special teams is the difference maker in a lot of games.
So do you think
why we got 2 ties so far?
Now, why do you think that? I mean, is it just too much pressure on the kickers nowadays? I mean, it feels like I've never seen this many missed field goals. Like when we were kids, you never saw that many missed field goals.
You had people that honed their craft, and different generation. I'm sure you got that, like the Andersons. They were kicking field goals all week long. These new kickers are like, okay, we'll kick in practice. We'll worry about it then. And it's just, I'm trying to. Oh, Hard Knocks last year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? We're watching Captain, I'm a second-round pick, and I
Captain, I'm a second-round pick.
couldn't hit the broadside of a bar.
God bless
Robert Aguayo, probably messed that up, but whatever. Watching him practice, and Chris Baker is just making wide right as he's kicking field goals. Okay, first of all, you're not supporting your teammate who could be a difference in the game.
Well, Baker's not playing at all now, though.
Well, that could be why. But, field position back and forth, it's a chess game. And I think in the NFL today, they're taking away that part of it. Field position is no longer, they started inside their 2-yard line, 3 passes, they're already past the 50.
Right.
Because it's a passing league. But, maybe they need to start emphasizing on that game because it's a difference.
Well, you said something interesting the other day, like, special teams are just, you feel like special teams is not getting the attention overall that they need to be getting them. They've already cut down like on the kickoffs, they made the kickoff pretty much a little bit easier it almost makes it moot because every game they're kicking the ball off, but the ball is sailing into the end zone and they're just downing the ball. It just seems like it's taking up extra time. If you're going to eliminate kickoffs, because that's the vibe that you get from when you see it. It's like you look like you just want to eliminate kickoffs.
Right, but see, it could be a ploy by the owners to pay less money because you're still having to pay money for special teams players.
That's true.
So they're trying to change the facet of the game to save them money, and it's taken away from the fans. And I mean, remember when Devin Hester first came out?
Devin Hester was a monster. Devin Hester will probably be a Hall of Famer based off of what he did in the kick return game. And I know it's going to be a little tight, but I think he's got a real chance at it. Could be, but then if you say that, you got to say Dante Hall did the same thing. Because him and Hall are very close. Yeah,
in
but
the
Dante
statistical
Hall
category.
didn't have as long of a career as Devin Hester did, though. I think that would probably be the one factor that you look at. So, Hester had a longer career, did it for a longer period of time. It wasn't up to a year or two ago. Dante Hall was out of the league after 4 or 5 years.
He was, but it was the same thrill.
It was the
when
same
he was
thrill.
back there.
Nobody can cross anybody up like my man Dante Hall.
Don't say that. Tyreek Hill, if he sees this, might take that as personal.
He might get a little bit upset, but I mean Tyreek Hill's a reincarnation.
No, he's not. Because you know what? Dante Hall couldn't catch a cold.
He can catch these hands though.
Right. Tyreek Hill, like I said it on the show a couple weeks ago. I still stand by this. I think Hill has the potential to be AB.
He's a little bit smaller than AB, but
Not
he
by
definitely
much.
but he definitely has a lot of talent. And Pat Mahomes. I mean, the way Pat Mahomes right now is doing things and slinging the football, and I think out of his 10 touchdowns, he's hit 7 different people.
Yep.
During that time frame, everybody's getting a taste.
And, it's that Brett Favre mentality, but he seems to be a little bit more accurate than Mr. Favre.
He is. And I've heard this comparison before, and I might get beat up by somebody by saying this, but I've heard that he's a combination of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. He's got the accuracy that Aaron Rodgers has. He's got the mobility. Well, maybe not the complete accuracy Aaron Rodgers has, but he definitely has the mobility. He can move around, and he does a lot of, like you said, Brett Favre things, the sidearm, which he has a really beautiful sidearm.
Oh, he does.
I've never seen a guy who's able to do what he can do and
still put the zip on it
and make it look so easy. I mean,
it's definitely crazy. I mean, I'm excited to see what else he can do. The thing that I want to see him before we throw, the Aaron Rodgers comparison,
right,
is the ability to get outside the pocket, extend the plays, and throw the passes like what went to Cook down the field.
Right. He's shown a little. I think he's still got a ways to go.
But we're what, 3 starts in?
We're only three starts in, all on the road. Today is his first home game.
Ooh.
This is his first home game today. He has not had a home game, and this will be his first.
That says enough right there, because 10 touchdowns?
Yeah, 10 touchdowns, all on, and then I think he had one last year in that Broncos game on the road. So he's got maybe 11 touchdowns.
That doesn't count.
I mean, it doesn't count.
Last year?
What I'm just saying.
Last year. We're doing it now.
That's true, but I'm talking about as a career span. Like he's
a career span.
I mean,
starts. Okay, fine. Let's do. Fitzpatrick's got 9 touchdowns.
Come on, man. Leave Fitzmagic alone.
I'm just saying.
Because it's Winterdelphia, ladies and gentlemen. Once again in Philadelphia. That's our Paul's fantasy football team name.
Yeah,
I think I played Winterdelphia this week. They're going down, buddy.
And they still suck.
Now, speaking of Philadelphia, speaking of Carson Wentz coming back, this is very interesting because the Colts are a team that came into Washington last week, looked decent, looked impressive for the most part.
Defense looks nasty.
Defense looks nasty. Andrew Luck looks like he's getting back to himself. T.Y. Hilton, they look like they're getting their vibing again. And Eric Ebron has 2 touchdowns in the first 2 games. He's
rejuvenated.
He looks better than he ever did in just these 2 weeks than he ever did in Detroit.
With the Lions, right?
I mean, and I think that could just be a culture thing too, though. But that's just me. With all that being said, can Philadelphia, get back to that groove that they got to last year when they went on that magical run before Carson got hurt? And this is very critical today. I don't know if it's going to be raining in Philadelphia, but if it is, it's a huge test for that knee today.
Huge test for the knee, but Jason Peters is back. That line looks okay, but Nick Foles couldn't do much with it. Last I heard, Clements isn't going to be available. So
I had to take him out of my fantasy because of that.
Yeah. So who are they going to throw to? I know they
still got Ertz.
They got Ertz, and then they drafted Gobert, right?
They got Gobert, from South Dakota State. They still got that young man.
So, but besides that, wide receiver wise, they did.
I mean, they got Nelson. Nelson's having a pretty solid year so far.
That's one person to throw to.
Trying to help him out, man.
I'm just
trying
saying,
to help Philly out.
you would have thought they'd have done the same thing the Redskins did, bring in a couple wide receivers to try them out, and they did nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they brought some man, but they didn't sign anybody, and I don't. Dez Bryant is still out there.
Dez Bryant, I'm getting the feeling is going to be out there forever.
So I brought this up to a fellow member of the network, and I said, I'm starting to think that Dez Bryant is actually not playing us for a fool, but is being extremely strategic right now. Think Dez Bryant's plan is this. Can't get the big contract he wants, okay? Well, you know what? I don't need a big contract. I'll wait till after, week 10. Who's ever injured, who's ever, hurting that receiver, that's a contender. Hey, sign me up. And he'll take cheaper money. I don't think he wants to take cheaper money for the entire season. He won't mind taking the 1 year $5 million that the Browns offered him. He'll take that midway through. You see what I'm saying? I think he's being strategic at this point. Dez Bryant, I think if he doesn't sign in the next week or two, won't sign until after week 10 or as we get closer to the playoffs. He's going to try to get on a contender and try to win a ring. That's my official word on Dez Bryant. I think that's what might happen.
So he does this, wins his ring. Does this strategic move taint the legacy?
No. Other people have done it in the past. If you look at, at least tried to do it in the past. You look at a guy and it's switching sports, You look at the NBA, Karl Malone did it. He tried with the Lakers that time.
Yep, but did he win a ring?
He didn't. Peyton did. He went to Miami, joined over the crew. He got one. People have done it before. So I wouldn't see it as a horrible move. It's actually maybe smart. I mean, the guy's got enough money, he can sit for a while. You know what I'm saying? He's living comfortably. So,
but I don't know. See, different point of view, different people. Yes, he's got money. He wants the ring.
Right.
But Hall of Famer? No.
Not right now. No, not at all. So what's the worst thing that happened to you as a kid?
As a kid?
As a kid.
I can't discuss that with my therapist.
Other than getting left at a bar.
Left at a bar. Actually, one of my stepmoms got really angry at my dad because he didn't come home. So she took all of my toys, piled them in the driveway, dumped gasoline on them, and lit them on fire.
What? I would have been hot. I would have been so mad.
I was like 6. What am I going to do?
I mean,
Bite her ankle?
I mean, what happens when they just say, you know what?
It just melted into one pile. Nowadays, that's child abuse. I mean, I'm pretty sure anything that happened to us when we were kids is considered child abuse.
Yeah, it probably is. I think the worst thing that happened to me as a child, and then this has really nothing to do with that.
What did they do? Take away your merit star?
No. This is. I'm gonna tell this story, and I want people to understand that it's kind of bad. But when I was a kid, I think I was probably about like 6 years old. I'm outside, family cookout. We're all out there having a good time, and as you know, my family's massive. We got 6 trillion people in the family. As I'm outside, oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom. Bad, right? So my house, and everybody in our a lot of places, at least in Amelia, we, in my hometown, we have like the whole neighborhood is family. So I could have went to any house.
Well, I remember helping or going down to your parents' house. I mean, I think we were helping your sister move.
Right.
And like you got an aunt that lives across the street,
right.
You got another aunt that lives down the road. So I can speak for her.
They all live in the dream. The best part is I could have went to any house, but I decided I'm going to my house. It's probably the best decision I made now that I think about it. So I go, I gotta use the bathroom. I go in there to use the bathroom. It's gonna sound bad. I take my zipper down. There is a tick right there.
A tick on the...
Yep. Right there. I lost my mind.
Was the tick embedded?
It was in there.
Oh, shit.
It was in there. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me as a kid. I'm man enough to say, I remember just the panic. Could you imagine? You go zip.
I don't.
That was me. That was me at 6 years old.
Please tell me, like, you flailing down the stairs with all goods.
Well, it wasn't. Our bathroom was downstairs. We only had one bathroom in the house, and I lost my cool. Now, my mom happened to be at the house at the time. This is where it gets a little bit better. My mom happens to be at the house at the time. She opens the door. What is wrong with you? I turn around and I point. She says, "Oh my God!" Then she runs out. I'm up here like, "Please help me! Please help me, Mom!"
Don't leave me,
so,
Mama.
Definitely the worst. Probably one of the worst things that happened to me as a young kid.
Okay, well, number 2 for you get old enough as a man. Oh boy, you can just get everything up over the toilet to do what you got to, right?
Right.
So I'm all proud. I'm like, "Daddy, look what I'm doing." And then all of a sudden the toilet seat gets revenge. You know how they got the 2 things that hold it up?
Yeah.
Yep, one of those things got me.
Ooh!
But that wasn't even the worst part of it. It hurt.
The beans over the Frank? No,
not the beans over the Frank. But then come down, slam, instant swelling, and, Mom died when I was born. So, got Dad. I look at Dad with all the compassion in the world. "Kiss it, Daddy. Make it better." You're on your own, buddy. Tragedy.
Wait a minute.
It broke my heart.
That's horrible.
That Daddy would not kiss the boo-boo.
Do you blame him?
I understand.
You understand completely now, right?
But I was just like, "Dad, what?"
Man.
You're on your own, buddy. And he hands me like an ice bag. I'm like,
that sounds like Pops.
It does sound like Pops.
That sounds exactly like Pops.
Come on, dude. Why are you doing that?
That's funny.
No, it's not funny.
Oh man,
Just the thought of it. Could you imagine?
Yeah, so grab your bags.
Raining out here. On the road again, baby. On the road.
Touchdowns, and Walter Payton is there. I mean, and how much do you look forward to breaking those? And is there anyone on that list that you really want to surpass?
Yeah, I really haven't had time to kind of look at it. You know, it felt good to get into the 100 club. So I have a little time off now. Maybe I can kind of look and see who I'm approaching. You know, Riggins, he's a guy that I do remember seeing up there on the list and thinking, you know, God's willing, I'll be able to pass him, you know, eventually. But I kind of simplify it for myself. You know, it's like, hey, go out there, execute the game plan, and within that, you have the opportunity to pass guys and, you know, accomplish some great things. So, you know, that right there is my main focus when I step on the field.
We played really well today, so we got to get ready for a tough one.
So what do you tell your teammates after this one? I mean, tough one obviously, but you got to get refocused. What are your thoughts going into next week's game?
Well, we're going to digest this one first tomorrow. I would probably just tell them go home and have a scotch. That's what I'm going to do.
Sounds good.
All right, y'all. We are heading back from FedEx Field. Redskins, Packers, Washington Redskins going impressive victory today, 31-17 over Green Bay. Jay, I got to give credit where credit was due. Adrian Peterson, my friend, classic AP against the Packers today. He had 19 carries, the 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and classic AP form.
On the touchdown chart, 100 touchdown. I think he's at 100.
102, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 102. So I mean, he got himself in a pretty good spot there. So
You know
congratulations.
who's next on the list?
I think they said Walter Payton was next on the list.
Jim Brown.
Jim Brown. That's some pretty impressive company, man. I mean, and we all know AP's a Hall of Famer, man. I mean, it's just amazing to see, how. Well, I thought it was funny that in the press conference today he said how, a question was asked about him being over 30 and how do you answer it being over 30 and, running backs falling apart at that age. And I guess he answered it quite well today with his performance. And he just says,
You just go out there and you give it your all, put your heart into it, hard work. You take care of your body and do what he did.
Now,
the other thing, it was the Packers, and he seems to have your guys' number.
I'll be honest with you, man. I had a bad vibe coming into the game for one reason. One, I know AP and I know how he plays against us, so I knew that. And I seen flashes, okay? So I knew that. Two, I also had to say that, the defense is legit. We talked about before, we didn't know for sure where, we knew they were good, but that defense is actually legit.
I think 4 sacks?
4 sacks today on Aaron. Deron Payne got a sack. Blake Allen got one as well.
Allen had 2.
Allen had 2 in there. So, I mean, they look good. DJ Swearinger almost picked them off one time. But for the most part, Aaron didn't look bad today. The Redskins jumped on them fast, and it was pretty much too late from there.
I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I think Geronimo Allison, either late third quarter, early fourth, had a huge drop.
Yeah.
Huge drop that could have definitely changed the momentum of this game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think they're missing.
Are you talking about the one with the fourth down? The fourth down one?
No, not the fourth down one.
Not the Randall Cobb. Not the Randall Cobb. Yeah.
No, I'm talking the one where he was down the field and he was open and it hit both his hands.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yes.
That's a catch. that Jordy Nelson would have made.
Jordy Nelson had a day today, and I know you don't want to talk about that too much because
because I listened to some jagging.
I know. Hey, you can't blame me for that. You can't blame me for that.
I can blame you for it because I listened to my friend's advice and it was bad.
Wait a minute.
Bad advice.
That was not the advice.
Don't.
We're not getting into this.
No.
Look, you know what you said.
Silence or I kill you.
Then you told me you wanted me to manipulate the fantasy football world.
No, because
if it was
you
wrong.
told me that you would fix it.
I never said that.
In my world,
I
you
never
did.
said that.
In my world, you did.
I know in your world, you know what? Whatever. Nevertheless.
Anyways, the Packers lost.
The Packers did lose. But I'm going to tell you, I think of another game-changing moment. 2 game-changing moments that are going to be talked about all week. The one that the matter one is Cobb dropped that pass. Well, it looked like he caught it at first, and a great job by the Redskins by doing the review. But back. I think that would have been, if they could have got the first down there and kept going, things could have happened. But the biggest one has to be the Clay Matthews hit.
I was going to say that.
That's ridiculous, dude.
3 weeks in a row, and I'm going to tell you, it was the cleanest sack I've seen all year. And even Jay Gruden and Alex Smith, exact words. We got it. You can see it on our page once we get it done. He hit me in the strike zone.
He said he was in good. And if you look at all the pictures I've seen from the hit, it was a clean hit. The biggest thing I think they try to call is that he landed on top of him, and I know they're going to call that a lot more, but what do they want him to do? I mean, what do you want to grab him by the shirt and drag him down and throw him on the ground?
I'd recommend they put a flag on his belt and let him rip it off. That's a sack.
I mean, but that's the way it's getting to. I mean, I'm not a fan of it personally, of what they're doing here, but they've got to figure something out. I know they're trying to protect the quarterbacks, but there should be a judgment call type of thing on there.
But they're not porcelain dolls.
Right.
They're paid more than anybody else to take these hits, and you're not even allowed to hit them.
Nope.
That's some bullshit.
And I'm gonna tell you right now,
Clay Matthews,
I can tell you now that they asked Coach McCarthy. Actually, I asked Coach McCarthy about it after the game, and he was all right the first time we asked it to him, but then the guy right after me asked him the same question. He was not thrilled. Say, look, man, that's the referees. But he's clearly upset. He feels like that the rule is really just it's not being beneficial to a lot of teams. Even Aaron said he was kind of confused about it when we talked to him in the postgame.
And he's the reason the rule's there.
That's true.
But the one thing that we really aren't correlating to this game is you go back and you got the number 1 pick in the plummet of Aaron in the same draft.
Yep.
To 22 to you all, and you look at careers, the way they've gone. Both have had solid careers.
Most definitely.
But you look at it. Aaron's more than likely a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Alex
I
Smith
think
is a journeyman.
It's tough because I feel like Alex, and I said it a few weeks back, I think he's getting better with age. It's like a fine wine. And you look at him, he continues to get a little bit better. He made some plays today on his feet that impressed me.
He still looked very agile.
Yeah.
I think he had.
He's 34 years old. He still looks pretty good.
4 rushes for like 26, 27 yards. I could be wrong on that. But his rushes were on key third downs to get them to move the chains.
Yeah.
Chris Thompson was a no-show. So, he had to pick up the slack. AP was doing good. But I'm noticing a trend that a lot of teams are going out, and that first drive, they're doing that deep ball, let's get it started type of thing. They hit Paul Richardson for 70-some yards?
It was right off the bat. It was a 4-play, 75-yard drive, and it just took the win out of anything. In my opinion, the Packers game, that game was pretty much over from that point. I mean, Packers made a few moves here and there, but it just wasn't enough. I like the way you move. I like the way you move. I like the way. I like the way.
I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky, I'll be there. I swear, yeah. Like the shadow that's by your side, I'll be good.
Let's do it. Nothing like some fresh air, a few good friends, and sports.
On the road again. Yeah, so grab your bags, pack them in, close the trunk, tire spin. We'll be there, where